Let me slow down. I'm Rusty. Today we're going to learn about relegation. But before we get into that, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification button because right now I'm trying to catch up on 100 years worth of international football knowledge that I have not known up until the World Cup. So you guys get to follow me on that journey. We're only a few videos in, so you can binge what I got before that. So anything else you think I should know, just tell me in the comments and we're going to get right to it. So without further ado, we are going to learn about relegation in the Premier League.
Relegation. Nothing quite does more to damage a football club's long-term financial health than the dreaded drop. As the Premier League becomes more lucrative with each passing season, the financial gap between the top division and the Championship grows wider, making relegation an increasingly terrifying prospect for clubs fighting to survive. But
Oh, so they're saying if you get relegated, you lose money? Is that what they're saying? If you get relegated, like that means like, hey, your club can go broke and your club will not exist anymore. Is that what they're saying? Like not just, not being in Premier League anymore, but we're talking about to the point that that your club just does not matter, that they will fall off and be broke. Is that what they're saying? What happens if you're not in the Premier League?
what does relegation actually do to a club's finances? And why is it feared so much? I'm sure we all know that the things that matter most for a football club's financial health are revenue, wages, transfer effectiveness, and debt. So, let's break down how relegation impacts these key areas, using examples from clubs that have experienced the harsh reality of the drop. When a club falls out of the Premier League, revenue drops sharply, typically by 50 to 70% in the following season. This dramatic fall...
Yo, think about that. Think about that. Your club, like they got somebody that's on a contract, like somebody that's on like $100 million contract, and then they're so trash that they get relegated to another league and they lose 50% of their revenue almost immediately, and they can't pay that person, so that person gets traded. Which I'm also going to look into trading, which is basically called transfers. So we're going to look at the craziest transfers too. We're going to do a video on that too. So that just means you're just going to be trash forever until you find another superstar that you basically got from the bottom of the barrel from out of nowhere that'll take your team out of relegation. The NFL needs that. The NFL needs that. Yes. That would create better competition because the NFL does not have that. And they just basically... they got salary cap space and all that, but the competition doesn't matter because you got people that are tank, which is tanking is basically when you just lose games on purpose so you can get the top pick in the draft. And relegation would stop that. It would incentivize teams to be better if like, oh, your team is trash, so you guys are gonna play in CFL, and then we're gonna boost up one of the CFL teams. So the NFL definitely needs relegation for sure.
All is mainly due to the loss of broadcasting revenue, which forms the bulk of a Premier League club's income. For context, the average broadcasting revenue for a Premier League club is around £125 million per season. Relegated clubs usually earn between £100 to £110 million from TV deals, while Championship clubs receive only £5 to £6 million, a staggering difference of nearly £100 million. To soften this financial blow, the Premier League provides parachute payments, a safety net designed to help relegated clubs transition to the lower league. Here's how they work.
Wow, so basically they say, hey, we're going to give y'all a little bit of money to stay afloat, but y'all got to get better. That also kind of happens in American sports where with the TV deals, if you trash, nobody's not going to watch you on national TV. They're only going to watch you on basic regional TV. So that's basically the state that you're in and probably like a few states around. That's it. But when you're a good team, you want to get prime time games. You want to get games that are around 7 p.m., 7, 8 p.m., where everybody's off of work, everybody's relaxing, they done had dinner, and that's the time everybody's most likely on TV. And you want to get those games, but they don't give it to trash teams. Your team trash, and it's going to be even worse if you're in a small market. So for people who don't know what a small market is, that's basically just less populated areas. So when you're in a less populated area and your team trash, oh, you guys not making no money, and because you're not making no money, you can't get the trade pieces you want. You can't pay how you want. You can't do anything like that. and nobody wants to come to your team at all. Nobody wants to come there because you trash and you in a small market and your games are not being showed at prime time. You want prime time games for sure.
In the first year of relegation, 55% of the previous season's broadcast revenue is given. In year 2, 45% is given. And in year 3, 20% is given
And people in it for
if the
years.
club wasn't immediately relegated after one season. If a club is promoted and then relegated after just one season, they only receive 2 years of parachute payments. While these payments give recently relegated clubs a financial advantage in the championship, they don't fully offset the enormous loss in revenue, meaning that financial restructuring is almost always necessary. Beyond TV money, matchday income and commercial revenue also take a hit. Sponsorship deals often have Premier League clauses, meaning brands reduce their payments or leave entirely if a club is relegated.
Oh, that's crazy. That sucks. Take this patch off your shirt. Take this Nike and Adidas patch off your shirt. As soon as you get relegated, it's over. Sponsors is gone. Red Bull is not coming. Yo, that is trash. What? Yo, that's an incentive for sure. So now I see why like it's life or death when it comes to international football. Now I see why it's life or death. Because if your team does not win and your team is trash and you get relegated, y'all lose everything. They snatching they patches off your jerseys. You're not getting paid like that. The TV, you're not gonna be on TV. The fans not showing up. That is insane. Like, that's insane. Nah, that's crazy.
Attendance and ticket prices also tend to fall, further shrinking a club's revenue streams.
Damn.
One of the most immediate and complex issues for relegated clubs is wages. Premier League teams typically offer higher salaries to attract top talent, contracts that become a massive burden when revenue collapses. Take Everton as an example. Their wage bill has consistently hovered between 90 to 95% of revenue, well above UEFA's recommended 70% guideline. If Everton were to be relegated, their wage costs would likely double their income, making the current structure completely unsustainable. When this happens,
so they have to be good. They have to be good or it's over, or at least middle of the pack. So now I see that they have certain teams now that they're like, hey, as long as we stay in the middle of the pack and we can stay in the Premier League, we didn't necessarily have to win. We don't even have to win. We don't even have to even win the championship or anything like that. We don't have to. As long as we stay in the middle of the pack and we don't get relegated, we're okay. And I think there's clubs that's doing that for sure. Hey man, as long as we middle of the pack, every year we're gonna make sure we're gonna get this TV deal. We're gonna make sure we get the kickbacks. We're gonna make sure we get all of that. That's an okay strategy. You would say if you don't really want to win nothing, you just want to sustain as a business model.
Clubs are forced to hold fire sales, offloading their best players, often at a discount, just to balance the books. A classic case is West Ham in 2003, when they were relegated and immediately lost key players like Jermaine Defoe and Joe Cole below market value.
Damn.
Relegation clauses are another complication. Many player contracts include provisions that reduce wages if a club is relegated. While this helps financially, it also means that top players are more likely to leave, weakening the squad and reducing the chances of an immediate return to the Premier League.
Yeah, I said that was going to happen about players was going to leave. I didn't know their contracts also get reduced. That is also crazy. That is in their contract that, hey, if you guys get relegated, your contract get cut down too. And then once your contract get cut down, as they said in the video, I'm gone. Send me somewhere else.
The challenge is simple. If you don't cut costs quickly, the club risks financial meltdown. But if you sell too many key players, it's harder to bounce back. Debt can turn relegation from a setback into a disaster. The best-known cautionary tale is Leeds United. In the early 2000s, Leeds spent aggressive...
That dirty Leeds. That's dirty Leeds. Now listen, I did a video on the wildest, most hated fan bases that's going to come out. So you're going to see that before you see this video. And they was talking about the first team that they said was one of the dirtiest teams was Leeds. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people were happy that Leeds ended up getting relegated and they probably took whatever L that they took. So we're going to see what happened to them. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people was happy because they was dirty.
Aggressively to chase Champions League success, with their debt rising from £9 million to £119 million in just a few years. When they missed out on Champions League qualification in 2003, the club could no longer cover their repayments. Star players were sold quickly, again below market value, and the weakened squad was eventually relegated. The financial fallout was catastrophic. Leeds dropped to League One, faced multiple points deductions, and endured over a decade of instability before returning to the Premier League under Marcelo Bielsa's leadership. More recently, Reading faced a similar fate.
Damn. 10 years? 10 years? So that's what can happen. So you could be, I thought like relegation was probably at max, maybe 3 years. And then your team can get back. You know, somebody might come through and say, you know what? I'm going to take this team out of relegation. We're going to make this happen, whatever. I got a little bit of buzz, whatever. We're going to make this. I didn't know that you could stay in it for like a decade. I didn't know that they're like, matter of fact, that's a question I got. What team or what club has the longest relegation period? Like they dropped out and they didn't get back in for like 10, 20, 30 years or something like that. Let me know in the comments.
After years of financial mismanagement, including unsustainable spending to chase promotion, the club was hit with points deductions for breaching financial fair play rules, making relegation to League One inevitable. This shows how fragile a club's position can become when debt spirals out of control. Given the risks, it's no surprise that clubs will pay almost any price to stay in the Premier League. Managers with a track record of avoiding relegation, like Sean Dyche and Sam Allardyce, often become invaluable at this stage of the season. While their fees may seem high, the financial devastation of relegation means their expertise is often worth every penny.
So what they do is basically they're taking coaches that were in the Premier League and everything and poaching them and saying, hey, listen, I know you're coaching this team that's in this league, and they're paying you probably $20 million a year. Or listen, we'll give you $50 million a year. Come rock with us and get us out of relegation. So that's what they're doing, putting all their chips into this one team. I mean, you're putting all their chips into this one coach. That's what these teams do.
Even with parachute payments, most clubs face a multi-year struggle to recover from the financial fallout of relegation. It affects everything: player recruitment, staff cuts, infrastructure investment, and long-term financial stability. Ultimately,
damn, shit, we do not want that. I see why it matters. Jesus, whoa, that will financially ruin people. That literally ruins people's lives. Oh my God, whoa, now I see why. God damn, whoa.
The numbers speak for themselves. For most clubs, relegation means 50 to 70% revenue loss, fire sales of key players, debt crises if finances are mismanaged, and a major risk of further decline. And while a handful of clubs bounce back stronger, many others spend years or even decades trying to return to where they once belonged, and sadly, many never do.
What? So some teams never bounce back and it's a wrap? Wow. Shout out to Overlap on that one. So check out Overlap. Overlap is basically, that's the channel that we just watched, and they got us right with that information on relegation. That is insane that you do not want to be relegated. So who got relegated over the past 5 years and who came back from relegation that are somebody that's more formidable in the Premier League? Please let me know in the comments. But that is insane that with relegation, I always thought like, okay, you get put into a lower league and then, you know, just fight back, whatever. I didn't know that there's serious implications of that they cut your TV deals, they cut contracts, ticket sales, all of this different type of other stuff that was going on. And they just basically just put your club under pressure and stress. So that's why this game means a lot to these clubs. I see that. I understand it. I told you, the more videos that I do, the more respect I'm earning for international soccer or international football. Hey, don't kill me in the comments. That I'm learning. Okay, I see why it's the greatest game on earth. I'm getting it. We're here. Well, I'll catch y'all in the next one, man. Y'all be easy, man.